Hi, everybody. Welcome to Shop Talk. I'm Janine Wright, editor of Greenhouse Grower Magazine, and I am here today with Carl Botschke, Darwin Perennials Global Product Development Manager, and we're here today to talk about some of the new plants that you might have seen at CAST if we had all had the chance to be there, but this is maybe kind of the next best thing to see it through technology. So, Carl, what's new at Darwin Perennials?
Well, I've got three really cool and great new introductions that I'd like to talk to all of our listeners and viewers about today, Janine. And the first one I'm going to start out with is a new Spanish lavender. So the genus species would be Lavandula stoechas or stoechas, depending on how a person wants to pronounce it. But these are typically considered to be an early spring item. You'll often see these in garden centers from March until April, May, something like that. And then normally they'll go out of bloom after that time, unless they're in really ideal conditions, maybe Pacific Northwest, something like that. We were fortunate enough to discover a variety from our primary lavender breeder in the Netherlands that does not require any cooling or chill to flower. And so therefore, we feel like it's a variety that people can have springtime almost any time of the year. So we called it Primavera, which is all Spanish or Italian for spring. So we really like that name. It's a beautiful, rich burgundy purple color. So it doesn't go as much into the blue tones. It's more into a burgundy color. And as I mentioned earlier, it's one that can be a great season extender. So it starts flowering very, very early in the season. So markets such as, say, Houston or South Florida, et cetera, can be putting lavender into their stores in late January, early February. And then it will flower in the heat of summer in many parts of the country as well. We've tested as far south as the Carolinas, and we've had flowering all summer long, beautiful color in those regions. We've had it in our trials for 2 successive years in Illinois and Chicagoland, outstanding in the summer as well. And I think we'll be having some visuals pop up at some point that will show how stunning the plant is in July and August and midsummer, which is very unusual for a Spanish lavender.
So this one's kind of a breeding breakthrough, isn't it? In the chilling requirements and then a little bit longer flowering for
That's
it.
exactly right. Yeah, it sure is a breeding breakthrough. It's I've tested probably several hundreds of different Spanish lavender over the years, and this is the most interesting of any of the varieties I've tested because of that elimination of the chill requirements on the variety. And because of the breeding background, this is very much a weather tolerant. It ships extremely well. So it passed all the shipping testing that our breeding partner in the Netherlands does. So any of the growers who have grown the Anouk varieties or the luxurious varieties of Spanish lavender know they ship well. However, this one really knocks it out of the park when it comes to season extending.
That's great. There's lavenders are going to be a lot more popular. We're seeing a lot more of them in the stores and people growing them, which is kind of exciting to have a new one.
Well, and too often I see Spanish lavender in stores that are not in bloom, and it's either because the grower wasn't able to provide enough chilling or for whatever reason the timing was off. This one begins to flower and it just continues to put up new flowers on new growth. So it really never goes out of flower in our experience and trials. So for a grower to say, plan a crop for something like a Mother's Day market, for instance, it's almost foolproof because they can extend, add a little bit of time to give them some cushion and buffer and not worry about it going out of bloom by the time they hit their market.
Great. A little more programmable than they've been, sounds
Absolutely.
like. So what else do you have?
So in addition to Primavera lavender, we have a beautiful new addition to our Armeria Dreameria series. And this is really catching on like fire all the way across the country. Once again, this is a wonderful season extender. This is an early season item. However, it also will extend later into the spring season than other Armeria. This one's called Dream Clouds, and it's a beautiful pure white. So in our assortment of Armeria now we have 5 colors. and we have a white. So many growers had been asking for a nice contrasting color to go with the pinks and salmons and purples that we had. So this makes a nice plant that can go together into a mixed bowl, a mixed container, something like that. So Dream Clouds would be our new addition to the Dreameria series.
And this one sounds like it's a little untypical in that it flowers longer into the summer than maybe a traditional.
That's correct. Normally we think of Armeria as being an early spring crop, and either the Maritimia types, or in this case, this is a Pseudarmeria, but we normally will see them starting out right out of the gate early in the spring, and then they will cycle out of flower. Sometimes they'll flower again in the fall, depends on the location that they're at, whether they have enough time and enough chill to come back into bloom in the fall. But by and large, it's considered a spring plant. Where we see flowering all summer long, let's say from the central part of the US and north, on the Dreameria. So again, for a gardener who's going to be placing this into their garden, they will see flowers on them all summer. It tends to have the heaviest flush during the spring period, but it will flower all summer. And these, by the way, are confirmed to be Zone 5 hardy. When we originally launched the series of Dreameria, we were getting results in Zone 6, and so we classified it initially as a 6, but we've had excellent overwintering in our Chicagoland area. This was a mild winter, but last winter we were at minus 25 Fahrenheit in the polar vortex for a few days. So we know it's extremely hardy. It's been overwintered nicely at Colorado State University trials and so on. So that really extends the range of these Dreameria.
Yeah, it's good news for all of us in the north.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So.
And then our last variety I'd like to talk about is also a really impressive new Leucanthemum. And I appreciate that there are a lot of Leucanthemum on the market. There's been a tremendous amount of wonderful breeding in Leucanthemum. And one of our objectives was to have earliness with good color or good coverage of flowers. So we brought out a variety that we've been testing for about 4 years now and are launching onto the market. And it's called Whitecap. And many of the growers will be familiar with a variety called Snowcap. It's been a staple, a mainstay in the market for probably 20 or 25 years from my recollection. And one of the things about Snowcap is it is fairly compact, so it fits high volume programs really nicely. However, it is not the earliest variety to flower, and it really benefits from some vernalization in order to get good flower coverage. Well, with Whitecap, we don't need any vernalization to get good solid flower coverage. It can be programmed and scheduled for a spring, summer, and into fall programs, and it has excellent flower coverage. So it's a typical standard clean daisy look. However, the show of the plant is just outstanding. And like I said, it really fits in that sweet spot of a trade gallon to a 1 gallon container. It's quick to finish, particularly in the summer. So we're quite excited about Whitecap.
It's great. Seems like with perennials, over the years, the day length requirements and the chilling requirements are making them a lot easier for the growers to have them in a little bit of color for the retail sales, and just a little bit easier to get them, program them, I guess, and get them in the season they need them to be for sales and that.
Well, and we're seeing that the increase in perennial sales, I think, is directly related to that, call it ease of use for the professional grower, that they can program them, they can have them in bloom when consumers are in the garden centers and when they're buying. And I really love to see the perennial displays look as colorful and as attractive as the annual displays in the spring. And we have the genetics now that allow growers to be able to do that. And additionally, growers are looking for that shoulder business. So whether it's, in Chicagoland here, our main market is sort of late April, kind of through the first week or so in June. And then consumers are still looking to plant, looking for product to put into the garden, and that's where perennials can come in. So we've done a lot of work on programming perennials for summer and also programming perennials to be companion plants for patio, porch, and decorating for the fall. And Leucanthemum Whitecap fits right into that.
Yeah, that's what I love about perennials lately is there's just a lot more versatility with them than there used to be for
Sure.
all season long use. And yeah, so some great developments there.
Absolutely. Very exciting.
All right. Well, thank you, Carl, for joining us on Shop Talk today to let us know about the new varieties. And if you have any questions, I'm sure they can reach out to you or on your website.
Certainly.
So, all right.
All right, Janine, thank you very much.